God. What's up, ladies and gentlemen, David here once again for another car review. And today we're in an F80 M3 from 2015. It's got the S55 motor, and this car makes over 500 wheel horsepower, which is super dope. And it's on an E30 tune. The S55 is unlike any engine I've driven so far really with BMW. I've driven the M2, which I love the M2, but I've never driven a modified one of these. And the thing about the F80 is, the first thing I notice when I get in the driver's seat is that the seating position is awesome. It's comfortable, it's perfect, it's very, very quiet. When you put up the windows, I don't have to yell anymore now that the window's up. It's very comfortable, but like every BMW, for some reason, it smells like Corolla Crowns. One of the things about these cars, though, is you want to typically drive them in manual, especially if they're modified, because automatic transmission is so aggressive that these cars actually have a freaking crank hub issue that you could totally destroy it. So you want to stick in manual because it gives it kind of that break and that punch in between, because with auto, it goes so aggressive, it just can destroy a lot. But it makes crazy DSG farts every time you downshift. But when you go grocery shopping, everyone's staring at you, obviously. But it's got a heads-up display I'm staring at, which is really nice, so I can focus on driving and not so much looking down at the gauges. The best mode to drive this in is the M2 mode. All you do is hit the button, everything opens up, and everything runs beautifully. Compared to, say, something like a 335i with the M54, it's a much different car. The M54 felt very smooth, but this feels kind of jerky in some ways, but I think that's just due to the power delivery. It's very different compared to the M54. Now, what's interesting as well, with this, it's got the dual intake system from engine, and it kind of spreads out like this, and you got the two little itty-bitty blue filters. It sounds so weird. Its power delivery is very, very good though. It's very easy to drive as well, but with a 7-speed transmission, it is fairly smooth. I have a lot of experience with the 335i, so that's why I was curious to drive the F80. The last time I drove the F80 was out at Thermal Club for the Michelin Pilot PS4 event, and it was bone stock. And I actually enjoy driving it, and the grip with the PS4s especially was great. This actually has the Pilot Super Sports, so this car does spin a little bit. E30 tune, you pick up a lot more horsepower. You could run more boost, you could run more boost and pull more timing without hurting the engine with just pump gas. I mean, making 500 horsepower on this is pretty impressive. When I got the email about this car, I knew how to drive it because I hadn't driven a faster modified modern BMW. Oh my God. It's wild because when you get into boost, the nose lifts up a little bit and the whole thing just squats. And as I'm going around a corner, you're like mid-squat and you're going this way. So definitely a very interesting experience because halfway through the turn, I entered full boost. Interior, super comfy. The seats have a ton of bolstering. The back seats have enough room for an adult. Super good, super comfortable. Also, the bolstering's great with all the lumbar support. And the color is not too much. It's not so much ugly brown color. It's a nice, pretty tan color with the contrast of the wood on the dash, but also they have this beautiful aftermarket steering wheel. Fortunately, with the aftermarket steering wheel, you lose the heated steering wheel option. But I think it's worth it because you get the perfect suede, flat bottom, and the carbon fiber on top with the M stripes right down the middle to know exactly where you're at. Some people don't like flat bottom steering wheels. I personally love them. They don't like it because when you kind of turn the wheel like this, it can be kind of awkward. Personally, I love it. Never had a problem with them. But there's always the debate about the newer BMWs, is that compared to the old ones like the E36, E46, E30, all of those, they're much bigger cars than they used to be. The M3, especially the F80, doesn't really feel as big as, say, the M4 or the M6. The M6 feels like a behemoth compared to this car. This feels like you're more at home and you're in a BMW. They always call these the ultimate driving machines, and I totally understand why. Because with the windows up, it's comfortable and relaxing. The paddles do not feel cheap. They basically downshift and upshift on a dime. There's no delay like the old days. Barely in it. Barely in it. Big toe in it. It's a weird experience because the turbos have zero lag. They are in boost almost the entire time. Brakes, of course, BMW brakes have instant response. Very, very good. Easy peasy. Has beautiful titanium exhaust at the back. I love the color shift change with the heat treated kind of exhaust. Also, the diffuser on the back of this car looks freaking wild. With the gills and the diffuser in the middle, it all looks very, very aggressive in the back. Plus, with most European cars, if you just add that carbon fiber rear spoiler, that little tiny detail, especially on this color, I love this color with the spoiler, that's what really makes it look like an aggressive car on the back. The whole rear of the car is very aggressive, but I've noticed that the M3 and the M4 front end do not look all that different. So I do see why a lot of people get them confused when it comes to the front headlights and the front kidney grills. All right. M3, still to this day, blows me away how balanced they are around corners. Wow, that was a very high rate of speed, and I was just chilling the whole time, easing into throttle, coming off throttle, letting it kind of come around a little bit, adding throttle where I need it to be, and it did not understeer at all. It did exactly what I wanted it to do. That's kind of always been the thing about the M3, is that you have utter confidence in these cars. And that was the first time I did a corner in this car, and I was like, it's fine, it's got it. But don't get me wrong, this car could definitely get away from you because we're dealing with over 500 wheel horsepower. So you need to realize that the car isn't gonna save you in every scenario, but for the most part, the chassis, the grip, the Michelins, it's all coming together. And I was just grinning ear to ear around that. That was so dope. I've noticed that the factory hood of the M3 has this bump in it where the intakes and everything sit right under it. Which I do like about this is that the charge pipes have been replaced with this to make the more power, obviously. But at the same time, the owner of this car took off the stupid plastic so we can actually see the engine. A lot of the German cars, like the BMWs, have this big plastic tray over the motor, so when you pop the hood, you have nothing to show off. But with this, you can see everything working, where everything lines up, and how the car is even faster than it used to be, which I really enjoy. Plus, downshifting never gets old. Now, would it be cool that this was a manual? Yeah, sure, but honestly, going around those corners with the heads-up display, I could see my speed, I could see my RPMs, I could see everything, and just focus on driving with these paddles because their response is so quick. That's what I love about it. God, third gear in this thing is a freight train. First gear is like, oh, we're gonna make it, we're spinning a little bit. Second's like, all right. And then third, God, it just, the linear power band comes out of nowhere and punches you in the seat. You can see how like the S55 learned a lot from the N54 and N55, but at the same time, it feels more aggressive for sure. This thing's wild. Uno, dos, tres, go. God, it gets up to speed so quick. BMW, when you get up to speed, if you were on a highway, you would not care at all. You'd just be cruising. When you're on a back road though, speed is kind of accelerated because it's a smaller road. There's trees on either side of you, so you can kind of feel the speed more. And then that's when you really realize how fast a car is when you're on a tighter road. So if you think about it though, with the full bolt-ons, being rated at 425 from the factory, and then jumping to over 500 horsepower wheel with just bolt-ons, tune, intake, and E30, that's a pretty good deal. And plus, it feels so much more fun than it did factory. Because these cars factory feel great, they feel balanced, and to go around a track, it doesn't get better really. But at the same time, if you wanted to mess with it, you can. And you're not gonna have the same computer issues like you did with the M54, because that just wasn't that fun. What I find so interesting is there's so many different sounds this car makes. There's the intake, where you barely get in it, then there's the turbos, and exhaust, and the pops, and the engine itself. So, very... All right, you guys, I want to thank each and every one of you for watching this quick video review of the F80 M3. What is my conclusion about the F80? Personally, I'm actually surprised. I'm pleasantly surprised. It doesn't feel as big as the 4 Series. The 4 Series I've driven before, 435i with the M package, and the M4 before, but this feels much, much different when it comes to the size of the car. I feel way more at home in this car than I do with the M4, even though they're very subtly different. On that note, I upload every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Make sure to hit the subscribe button. If you like this video, let me know what you guys think of the M3 of today compared to the M3 of yesterday. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.
No.